Hello friends, very good morning to all of you. Okay, let us see now the monthly policy review of March 2021. Okay friends, the March edition of monthly policy review is out. So let us see the important things that are there in the this monthly policy review. Right friends, if we see the some of the important items that are present in this edition are: the first one is budget session of 2021 of Parliament ends. Parliament passes 11 bills in the session. So right, the Parliament has passed 11 bills in total in this budget session. Right friends, Union Budget and the Finance Bill 2021 passed by Parliament. So Union Budget and the Finance Bill 2021 has been passed. Right friends, second supplementary demands for grants 2020-21 passed by Parliament. So try to be aware of the demand for grants that are supplementary demand for grants. Right friends, and the other important item was people above the age of 45 years eligible for COVID-19 vaccination in phase 2. Right friends, guidelines for effective control and management of COVID-19 have been issued, and current account deficit of at 0.2% of GDP during the third quarter of 2020-21. So friends, the CAD, current account deficit at very low levels, and this is a positive sign. Right friends, Supreme Court orders waiver of compound interest during moratorium. So this is for the period of April to June, when the first lockdown was imposed. Right friends, uh, we will discuss the other items in the next session. So these are some of the important items that we are going to discuss today. Right friends, the first one is budget session 2021 concludes. Since the budget session of Parliament was held from January 29, 2021 to March 25th, 2021. Friends, you should also remember that the budget session of the first session in the financial year. So that has been concluded, and in this session the Union Budget, the Finance Bill 2021 and a second supplementary grants for demands were passed. So these were the important items that have been passed by the Parliament. Right friends, the budget 2021 and 22, it proposes a total expenditure of 34 lakhs 83,236 crores for the year 2021-22. So friends, you should have an idea about the total amount of the budget or the total expenditure that is mentioned in the budget. So it is 34 lakhs 83,000 plus crores. Friends, overall 13 bills were introduced during this session, of which 3 bills have been passed in the same session. Friends, overall, sorry friends, 13 bills have been introduced, of which 3 bills have been promulgated or as ordinances even before, and among the 13 bills, 8 bills have been passed within the session only. So if we see in the perspective of the business done by the Parliament, so this is a really good positive outcome. So but if we see in the perspective of the time that has been allocated for the discussion of these bills is very low. So this is not a good development. Bills have to be passed in the same session to fasten, to improve the business of the Parliament, but each and every bill, at least the important bills, have to be given sufficient time for discussion. So the conduct of the business of Parliament should be focused on these things. Right friends, in total 11 bills have been passed in this session. Right friends, now we will see some important things about the Union Budget 2021-2022. So part of this Finance Bill 2021 passed by the Parliament. Friends, the Finance Bill for 2021 was passed by Parliament to give effect to the government's financial proposals for the financial year 2021-2022. Right, friends? The Finance Bill enables the government to collect the taxes and collect the revenues. Right, friends? If we see the income tax rates, there is no change in the income tax rates for the individuals as well as the corporations. Right, friends? A new cess has been introduced, that is Agriculture Infrastructure and Development Cess for financing agriculture infrastructure and other developmental activities. So this is a new development. So there are no changes in the tax rates, but a new cess has been introduced, that is Agriculture Infrastructure and Development Cess. Right, friends? Reduction in time limit for reopening and assessment. This pertains to the provident funds. So there are some changes in the provident fund, and among those changes, one thing is reintroduction in time limit for reopening and assessment. Friends, the bill reintroduces the time limit for reopening assessment to 3 years. Actually, earlier it was 4 years. Now the bill proposes to reduce the time period for 3 years. Right, friends? The bill also wanted to amend the LIC Act of 1956. So, for several reasons. One thing is to create a board of directors, and the second is for issue of shares, and third is for allow the central government to reduce its shareholding up to 51% of the equity, and cap the voting rights of shareholders other than the central government at 5%. Friends, one thing you should remember, that all these changes have been brought to accommodate the disinvestment process in the LIC. So disinvestment of LIC has been proposed in the previous year's budget. So to enable that process, all these changes have been brought in. Right, friends? The bill also tries to amend the Securities Contracts Regulation Act 1957. This is to allow pooled investment funds which collect money from investors. So they can now borrow money or issue debt securities. So to enable them to borrow money or to issue debt securities, the Securities Contracts Regulation Act 1956 has been proposed to amend. Right, friends? This is the news for second supplementary demands for grants for 2020-21 passed by the Parliament. Friends, majorly this is to accommodate the excess expenditure that has been done over the allocated amount of the budget in the previous year. So to accommodate that excess expenditure, the supplementary demands for grants have been approved. Right, friends? And here there are some developments and the news about the COVID-19 and guidelines for effective management of COVID-19 situation. And there is other item about the COVID-19 vaccination for people above the age of 45 years, the second round of the vaccination. So these are important in the context of the COVID-19. Please go through them and try to understand them. Right, friends, now we will see some items about the macroeconomic development. The first one is current account deficit 0.2% of GDP during the third quarter of 2021. Right, friends? India's current account deficit balance in the third quarter, that is from October to December of 2020-21, recorded a deficit of $1.7 billion. So that is 0.2% of the GDP. Friends, the current account deficit has always been a problem for India. So it is now reduced at it is recorded at very minimal levels, that is 0.2% of GDP. So if we see if we see separate from all the things, it is a good phenomenon. But if we try to see it in the context of the COVID-19, why the CAD, there is low level of CAD, because our business has been reduced, our imports have been reduced. So because of that reason, we are able to achieve low level of current account deficit. Right, friends? In comparison, a surplus of $15.1 billion, that is 2.4% of GDP, surplus, it was recorded in the second quarter of 2021. So, right, friends, there is a surplus in the second quarter of 2021, majorly because of our imports have been reduced drastically because of the COVID-19 situation. Right, friends, there is some news about the foreign reserves. So foreign exchange reserves increased by $32.5 billion in the third quarter of 2020-21. So this is also a positive change. Right, friends, now we will see some important happenings, developments in the Home Affairs Ministry. Right, friends, the first one is the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2021 passed by the Parliament. Friends, this is GNCT Delhi Bill. Friends, the bill amends the Government of NCT Delhi Act 1991. So this amendment bill amends the NCT Capital Territory of Delhi Act 1991. Friends, the 1991 Act provides for a framework for the functioning of the Legislative Assembly and the government of NCT of Delhi. So the 1991 Act provides for the functioning of the legislature as well as the government of the NCT Delhi. Right, friends, the Act proposes to amend some powers of the Legislative Assembly as well as the powers related to Lieutenant Governor. Right, friends, restriction on laws passed by the Assembly. So friends, from here on, the government that will be referred to all the bills or acts in the or acts that will be passed by the NCT Delhi Assembly will be, the government means Lieutenant Governor from here on. So who is the government in Delhi from now onwards? Government means Lieutenant Governor. Right, friends? Rules of procedure of assembly. Friends, the amendment act proposes that the state, NCT of Delhi legislature cannot enact on several certain subjects, and it cannot change the rules for its own governance, and majorly the rules must be consistent with the rules of the procedure and conduct of business in the Lok Sabha. So the bill to bring in the NCT of Delhi Assembly on par with the rules should be in collaboration or on the rules of the Lok Sabha. Right, friends? And there are some restrictions on the powers of the Delhi Legislative Assembly, and you can go through them. Right, friends? There are some changes to assent of the bills that have been passed by the NCT of Delhi Assembly. The Act requires the LG, Lieutenant Governor, to reserve certain bills passed by the Legislative Assembly for consideration of the President. So you can go through the list of those kind of bills. Right, friends? One more change is the bill adds that on certain matters as specified by the Lieutenant Governor, his opinion must be obtained before taking any executive action on the decisions of the Minister or Council of Ministers. So for certain executive decisions, prior approval of the Lieutenant Governor has to be taken. Right, friends? Now we will see rights of overseas citizen of India card holders revised. So there is some changes in the rights for the overseas citizens of India OCI card holders. Right, friends? The Ministry of Home Affairs revised the rights granted to OCI card holders under the Citizenship Act of 1955. So the OCI card holders are being governed under the Citizenship Act of 1955. Right, friends? The Act 1955 Act regulates acquisition and determination of citizenship and also contains provisions regarding registration of OCIs and their rights. Right, friends? When we come to visa, the OCI card holders are currently entitled to a multiple entry lifelong visa. Right, friends? There are some revisions in their rights. Those are, they have to inform the OCI card holders whenever they are visit India or they are staying in India. So they have to inform the concerned foreigners registration officer or the Indian mission for such matters whenever they are undertaking research or journalistic activities. This is one thing. And the second thing is whenever they are undertaking employment or an internship with foreign diplomatic missions or foreign government organizations in India. And the third one is whenever they are visiting protected, restricted, or prohibited areas. Friends, these changes have been brought keeping in mind the security and the safety of the country. Friends, if you see the exemptions from registrations, the revised rights add that the OCIs who normally reside in India must intimate the jurisdictional registration officers by email in case of they are changing their permanent residential address or they are changing their occupation. Right, friends, they have some parity with the NRIs in certain matters. So we will see currently the OCIs have parity with NRIs with respect to some rights. For instance, they have right to pursue professions such as medicine, law, architecture, and chartered accountancy, and inter-country adoption of Indian children. So they have these kind of rights. So the revision in these rights, like prohibition of OCS from the sale and purchase of the houses. And the second thing is the revised rights allow OCIs to appear for exams such as joint entrance examination. Friends, however, if the seats are exclusively reserved for the citizens of India, then the OCIs will be barred from taking those exams. Right, friends. The next item is Standing Committee report on crimes against women and children submitted. So friends, this Standing Committee on Home Affairs, this is chaired by Mr. Anand Sharma. So it submitted its report on the subject of atrocities and crimes against women and children. So it is presented on March 15th, 2021. Right, friends. If we see the key observations, one thing is about the registration of crimes. Friends, the committee highlighted that crimes against women and children are often not registered at police stations. And in this regard, the committee recommended that conducting a decoy operations at police stations to ensure that FIRs are registered timely. And the next thing is developing and promoting online registration of FIRs. Third one is filing zero FIRs. And fourth one is recording reasons in case of delay in filing FIRs. Right, friends, it also recommended taking strict action against police personnel and individuals registering false cases. So there is an effort in some cases that the victims themselves are being intimidated by registering false cases against them. So in such scenario, the persons who are doing that will be punished. Right, friends. The committee made some observations about the conviction rate. Right, friends. The committee noted that the conviction rate in crimes against women and children is very low. Right, friends? Against a target of 1023 fast track courts under the POCSO Act, only 597 courts have been operational. So there was a proposal to start almost 1000 cases, but only around 600 courts have been started. Friends, in this regard, the committee recommended implementing the online investigation tracking system for sexual offences to track police investigations. So here it is suggesting online tracking of investigations, and the second thing is setting up at least one forensic laboratory in every state capital. Friends, now in our country there are very less forensic laboratories. This what happens because of this? Because of this, the investigation process gets delayed. Right, friends? And the third suggestion is setting up fast track courts in a time bound manner. And the fourth one is providing law enforcement with public prosecutors. So these are some of the recommendations made by the committee. Right, friends? Now we will see some issues regarding the Ministry of Finance. The first one is Insurance Amendment Bill 2021 passed by Parliament to raise FDI limit to 74%. Right, friends? The bill amends the Insurance Act of 1938. So the act provides, the Insurance Act 1938, this provides for the framework for the functioning of insurance business and regulates the relationship between an insurer, its policy holders, its shareholders, and the regulator, that is IRDA. Right, friends? The act allowed foreign investors to hold up to 49% of the capital in an Indian insurance company, and that too must be owned and controlled by an Indian entity. So now the amendment bill proposes that the limit on foreign investment in Indian insurance company, it can be raised to 74%, and it also removes restrictions on ownership and control. Means the person who is investing need not be a citizen of India, or the entity that is investing need not be an Indian entity. Right, friends? Other very important development, National Bank for Financing Infrastructure and Development Bill 2021. This is passed by the Parliament. Right, friends? The bill establishes the National Bank for Financing Infrastructure Development as the principal developmental financial institution, DFI, developmental financial institution for infrastructure financing. Friends, the DFIs are set up for providing long-term finance for such segments of economy where the risks involved are beyond the acceptable limits of commercial banks and other ordinary financial institutions. Friends, because of the banks devoted their effort towards financing the infrastructure projects, the NPA problem has arrived. So to address this problem, to provide long-term investment towards the infrastructure, this bank has been established. Right, friends? Unlike banks, DFIs do not accept deposit from public. So they do not accept deposits from public. They source funds from the market, government, as well as multilateral institutions, and are often supported through government guarantees. Right, friends? If we see the key features of the bill, so NABFID, this will be set up as a corporate body with authorized share capital of 1 lakh crore rupees. So these number of organizations or entities can hold the shares for the company. Right, friends? Initially, the central government will be owning the 100% shares, and later it can reduce its shareholding to 26%. Right, friends? Now we will see the functions. So it can act as both financial as well as developmental activities. So it can objectives are both. There are some financial objectives and there are some developmental objectives. Right, friends? There are, there is an option of creating other developmental financial institutions. So the bill also provides for any person to set up a DFI by applying to RBI, and RBI will grant a license with the consultation of the government, and it can also prescribe regulations for these DFIs. Alright friends, there is a small news item. Supreme Court orders waiver of compound interest during moratorium. Right friends, this is for the lockdown period, last year lockdown period. So that is from March 2022, June 2020. So there will be no interest rate or penalty for the loans. Okay friends, and there is other news item. Insurance Ombudsman Amendment Rules 2021 notified. Friends, the Ministry of Finance notified the Insurance Ombudsman Amendment Rules 2021. This is to amend the Insurance Ombudsman Rules 2017. Right friends, the 2017 rules provide for appointment of insurance ombudsman for hearing disputes relating to personal insurance, group insurance, and as well as policies issued to sole proprietorship and micro entities. So there are changes in the qualification for appointment, and there are changes in terms of office. So age was 3 years or 70 years. Now it has been reduced to 68 years. And there are some changes in manner of complaints and hearing, and changes for selection committee also. Friends, for this session I will end here, and in the other session I will try to complete the whole items that are there in the March edition of monthly policy review. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day.